Greetings, Algo Artisans. Cowboy here. We're going to talk today about crypto narratives. We're going to talk about how we can take some of this information and turn it into profit. We're going to jump into it right now. Okay, great article here from back in April. Top crypto narratives gained 39% to 1,313% in Q1 2024. So we're going to break down the world of cryptocurrencies into different narratives. This is a very helpful chart that lines it all out. Meme coins, we know what those are. They're basically coins that really don't have much to them. Now, sometimes there might be projects that become attached to a meme coin if something gets big enough, but generally they just start out as some kind of crazy coin and people basically gamble, right? You've got real world assets, RWAs, and of course those are cryptocurrencies that will be tokenizing real world assets. Might be bonds, maybe stocks, maybe real estate, something like that. And that was a narrative that did pretty well early on and actually caught up to the AI narrative this year. Now, AI is the artificial intelligence narrative. We're all very familiar with what AI is, and of course we know what the AI crypto narrative is, where of course cryptocurrencies are built around a particular artificial intelligence. That's done really well. It's been really steady. Of course, nothing has beat meme coins because cryptocurrency is full of degenerate gamblers. No offense, degenerate gamblers. I know, I can be a degen. It's not a bad thing. Now, DPEN is a relatively new concept. I mean, it's been around, but it's been talked about a lot more in this cycle. And to define it right off of search here, DPEN is the convergence of blockchain tech with solid infrastructure services. It's used to describe decentralized applications that are peer-to-peer networks where individuals contribute physical infrastructure resources like data storage, wireless connectivity, sensors, or even energy grids. So really, DPEN has been around since the start of crypto, at least since like 2017, when you have a lot of these cryptos like for data storage, wireless connectivity, those types of things, right? Now, layer one is the most basic narrative of all. Layer one is the very basic crypto. Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever that original crypto is for, that's layer one. So your basic cryptocurrency. We'll go to layer two now because it's a little bit easier to understand after talking about layer one. A really good example of layer two is some of these protocols on top of Ethereum, something like Polygon or anything like that that is meant to be built on top of another cryptocurrency, like on top of Ethereum, and it's meant to help, say, make transactions faster or anything like that. And of course, there's GameFi. GameFi is very obvious. It's video game cryptocurrencies, and we have covered a couple of those in these videos in the last few weeks, right? Bad Mad Robot being one of them. So that is how everything is broken up, and this chart actually does a really good job of showing how well these have performed this year. Layer 2s, not so much. Layer 2 seemed to have been the loser when in prior years Layer 2 was very popular. Right now, GameFi and Layer 1 seem to be just kind of right, with each other in this chart. It does seem that DeFi is starting to pick up, and a lot of people think we're going to have a DeFi summer. Now, there is something called rotation theory, where in the world of cryptocurrency, these different narratives might see money come in and out, right? It's like all of a sudden, oh, DeFi is doing really well. Everything goes to DeFi. Oh, GameFi is doing really well. Everything goes to GameFi. Now, arguably, if you're a contrarian, you're probably buying cryptos that are not doing well because some of these other narratives might not do well. However, if you look back at least through Q1, that doesn't look like the way to go. Being a contrarian has not really paid off in that sense this year. So I think it's more of a trend following scenario, but that does remain to be seen. We're going to see how that works this year. But so far, being a contrarian in this world has not paid off. Going with the less popular narratives has not paid off in the sense that, the less popular narratives have not all of a sudden become popular, right? Now that we've covered this, let's take a look at some examples of these assets. Now, meme coins, I'm not going to cover on the charts just because we know what they are. Pepe, Dog with Hat, those are the larger meme coins that really have gotten sometimes in the billions for their market cap. Real world assets is an interesting one though. Ondo seems to be the one that's really killing it. We've done a show on Ondo, so you can go back through our shows and look at actually what it is. However, I'm going to go ahead and pull up Ondo on the charts just to see how it's been performing numbers wise. Now here's a chart of Ondo. According to CoinMarketCap, Ondo token holders are entrusted with shaping the future of the Ondo DAO, so it continues to pursue its mission to democratize access to institutional-grade finance. The Ondo DAO gives Ondo holders specific rights pertaining to Flux Finance, which is currently governed by the Ondo DAO. And just a quick reminder, it's gotten a lot of publicity, Wall Street Journal, BofA, Bloomberg, and it has partners such as BlackRock, Mantle, Morgan Stanley, Polygon, Coinbase, Injective, Curve, Yearn Finance, Anchorage Digital. So some pretty big names attached to Ondo. And you can see by the charts here that it is really outperforming a lot of cryptocurrencies right now. As a matter of fact, if I were to overlay Bitcoin on top of this, so you can see here, just going back to February, Ondo is up 294%, while Bitcoin is up 59.9%. Of course, a lot of alts do outperform Bitcoin, but what's interesting and what really matters here is that right now, a lot of altcoins in the short term have not outperformed Bitcoin. Bitcoin has held up, and a lot of alts have drained out. Even in the short term, Ondo has outperformed Bitcoin just in the last several weeks, and that's pretty remarkable. Okay, so Ondo, of course, this probably has to do with a lot of the partnerships it has. And to make this really simple, I'm going to do some upside targets. I'm going to use a Fibonacci extension here. We're going to take a look at this most recent impulse up going from Monday, March 18th, all the way up through the end of March. Now, once this goes into price discovery, the near-term targets are going to be $1.23. So let's say that I was going to go long on like a futures exchange. I would look to have targets right there, 123, 145, something like that. Ondo is possibly a cryptocurrency that I would be interested in holding, and I don't own any Ondo, surprisingly. I may pick up a bag for as well as this is performing. That looks like a good move. So let's move on to the next narrative. Okay, so for AI, I'm going to take a look at Fetch.AI. It's been around for a minute and it's pretty popular. There are arguably quote unquote better coins out there, but I like that Fetch.AI is a very broad solution. And this actually looks like it's performing about as well as Ondo, almost. I mean, it doesn't have that straight across consolidation. It's gone down a level, but it's holding very nicely, and it does appear that it may want to break out. And having looked at the higher time frame algorithms, I would say that if it were to break out, it would probably happen soon. And I'm going to base this also on Bitcoin pricing, right? As in what's been happening with the Bitcoin price actions, because it does appear that Bitcoin may be ready to break out as well. And the better and stronger coins tend to move along with Bitcoin at this point, although there is always that chance that a Bitcoin breakout might drain the alt market. A coin like this probably would do better than the others. Now, this range that I'm about to draw, it's, as some ranges can be, is a little subjective. I would say that could call this a breakout of a range. If you look at the bottom here, you see a lot of higher lows. That's also rather bullish. The lows getting higher and higher. Of course, that means the bulls are catching up quicker than the bears. So this could end up making a nice move up. If price were to break this all-time high, I would look at the most relevant impulse, and that would go from this low here up to this high. And as price did try to break out and got rejected, that most recent impulse seems to be what matters. And price did actually go down right to the 618 of that impulse, which that's right here. Now, some people don't like to do it this way, but that's how I'm doing it. This 618 held this whole time. I would look for targets, if I were to go long, around 365 and around, say, 429. Those are some good targets to the upside based on Fibonacci extensions and being in price discovery, at least short-term price discovery. So if I were to take this following long, it would be based on the thesis that Bitcoin is about to break out, and I would have a pretty decent generous stop, and I might even build, if Bitcoin were to break out, I might build on this position, but at least this could give me some short-term exposure. And then if price were to continue up and I could get better metrics, I might be able to put a tighter stop on this with not only the current trade, but adding to it. So that would be the trade plan for FET right now, Fetch.AI. As for DeFi tokens, I'm interested in the graph in GRT. So let's go ahead and take a quick look at that. It has performed really well in the current environment. In fact, that chart looks similar to Fetch.AI, although it appears to have broken out. Most people trading bullish ascending triangles, they tend to look for a continuation pattern where price runs up into it. But having traded crypto for so long and having been used to trading a lot of pattern type setups from when I was a lot newer of a trader, this is a legit methodology to trade, right? This actually is a workable strategy to have a reversal with this kind of triangle. So what would this look like? What would this trade plan look like? I would go ahead and use a Fibonacci extension tool. It's already hit the first target at 272, but the next target up would be right here at this 618, which is 38.6 cents. A little hard to see this on the screen, but you can see these Fibonacci extensions. Seeing how far this retraced during the most recent run does kind of give me a little concern. It hasn't held up as well as, say, Ondo or even Fetch.AI, but it is performing well in the near term, right? So this kind of broke down to almost the pre-run lows. Really, it did. It touched 2024, 2023 pre-run highs. So that being the case, I think the graph doing as well as it has done is showing a lot of strength in a pretty difficult market, and I do think that difficult market is about to end. So if I were to go ahead and look at a high time frame target, I've already done some structural look in the past, so I might consider taking profit before 54 cents based on what it's done in the past right there. If I were to go strictly based on Fibonacci targets, targets, I would take a look at this extension up here, and my profits would be up around 56 cents, which would probably mean I would take profit around 54 cents again due to that structure. And if I was holding on, this range is an older range from back in the last run that you see right here. So I might take profit actually, instead of all the way up at 65 cents, I might take profit around 61 cents. Now for DPEN, I'm going to take a look at Render. It's performed incredibly well compared to a lot of other coins. And even though it did drop down pretty deeply during the Bitcoin sell-off, it is already back up to pre-drop prices. So at this point, I've already drawn my targets up here at the top at 1360 and 1485 or so. That is based on the same kind of Fibonacci measurement that I used for Fetch.AI, considering this last move up to be more of a failed attempt to rally above the highs. So I would use this prior extension. And again, there are those who don't believe in using Fibonacci that way, but that does work for me. I will do an additional look based on this most recent extension from the bottom here. So I'm going to draw a line on that so you can see what I'm doing. And here would be that extension with those targets. Now I would look for confluence between this Fibonacci extension and the prior one. And I'd say maybe I would take profit prior to this 272 just because of the top right here. Going to put some pressure on price. So I would use that 272. However, you'll notice this extension matches the 618 with this prior extension, which is something you'll see with Fibonacci's quite often. So I probably would take profit up here at this same target that I had before, maybe slightly front run this more recent Fibonacci move. So 1480 and 1309. Those would be my targets if I were to go long on Render right now. This is not a buy and hold scenario. This is just simply trading. I'm going to leave layer 2 and layer 1 off the board. Layer 1, it's just base crypto. Layer 2 has not been performing very well. I will take a look at GameFi though. I did just do a video on Duel, so DUEL. You can look at that from just 2-3 days ago. And then there is Mad Bad Robots, and that one seems to have bottomed out nicely and is holding structure, right? So given that this is a token that doesn't see a lot of trading, I don't know that I would necessarily trade it. I might hold it, but where would I take profit at? What I talked about the last video hasn't really changed. So if I were to buy it at 5 cents, I probably would pull some off before it reaches this peak here at about 12 cents. I probably would take it off at 11 and a half or 12 cents, right? So the high here is at 12.50. I might pull off at just below 12 cents, and then I might hold on to the rest in case, it really does well in this bull cycle. But for the moment, it is simply staying in this range, more or less. I would look at this as the range and these peaks out as deviations. So if I were to actually go long on this, I might pull out a third of my bag right at the top of this range, right at these highs, and I'd pull another third out at about that $12 mark, and then I'd hold on to the rest of it in case it moons out. So this is how I am looking at sort of the better coins in all of these narratives, and that's how I'm trading them, though I don't have these coins just yet. Some of them I have, some of them I don't, right? I've got the graph and a couple others, but I don't have metal yet. I think metal looks like a good buy right now because metal has always so far bounced off of this 47.60 level and continues to kind of bounce up on that. So might not be a bad one to grab. At any rate, I do hope this video was helpful. Please come on over to algofactory.tech. We teach people how to build trading algorithms. They can build a trading method that allows them to extract money from the market. You don't have to know how to computer code, anything like that. Although if you do know how to code, or if you want to pay somebody to code, we can help put you on the road to build an auto trader as well that can trade when you're not even at the computer. So algofactory.tech is the website. As a matter of fact, we have some customers who are pretty happy. They're already in different stages of building their algos. Let's listen to this testimonial right now.
Hey, Cowboy V, I just wanted to give a heartfelt thanks for putting this project together. I initially joined Algo Factory a year ago, concerned about a repeat of the 2008 great financial crisis and the prospect of losing my job again. Within 12 months, under V and Cowboy's expert tuition, including live reviews, I've created a profitable algorithm launched across a selection of assets. Now, facing the prospect of redundancy and a nice fat severance package to trade with, my current worst case scenario is to keep my job. Thanks again, guys. Really appreciate what you've done here.
Okay, thanks for listening to that. Again, it's algofactory.tech. Don't forget, trade your job, upgrade your life. We'll see you on the next one.